Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2022 Change Your Mind, Change Your Life Women's Zoominar. I am Miss Rhonda, and I have my special guest on today, Miss Kiwan Fitch. She is going to present with us today. Normally, I have more speakers, but hey, we're going to bring it this morning with just the two of us. We are streaming live to YouTube, actually, and the audio version will also be on TME podcast later on this morning. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching and listening wherever you are in the world. We intend to bring you awesome content and information this morning. So if you give us an hour of your time, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you for joining the Change Your Mind, Change Your Life Women's Zoominar. Hello, Kiwan.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I am really good this morning. I am good. I am ready. I'm excited. I am intentional. I am well. I am well.
I'm very glad that you decided to join me on the Zoominar today. You and I have not collaborated since the book.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. I had actually been using a different Facebook page, so I lost a lot of connection with some old people. So once I came back, and I was like, oh, there's such and such, there's such and such. So I'm so glad that you're here with me today.
Amen. Amen. So what folks don't know is that Rhonda and I met probably through Facebook several years ago. You were in the first or second volume of Confessions of a First one, which is 2011. That's when we published Confessions of a Welfare Mom. And the beauty of how that book came about was it really started with me wanting to help women who were currently in the welfare system identify why they're there and really figure out their goals for not being there. And it really was a class project for my community work program. And so we had probably about 7 or 8 ladies, if that, who did submit. And we did it as a class project. And then, as life would have it, I moved to South Carolina. I closed shop. This was April of 2010. I had an office that was a huge space, and both of my subletters pulled out on me. At the same time, they didn't know each other. So basically my $1,500 a month rent that I only had to pay $400 of, $1,100 just gone.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So by July, I was like, yeah, no, we're gonna have to shut this thing down because I cannot. I tried to fill the space, that didn't happen. But as God would have it, I remember standing in front of my ladies and saying to them, I cannot allow you to make steps and movements in your life, in this stage of your life, that I am not willing to do for myself as well. Okay. Being a hypocrite was not who I am. And I did not want to be sitting there suffering, going through it with my business, going through it with my eldest son at the time. I had just really gotten free from my ex-husband. It was a lot going on emotionally and just a lot in my world. And I remember going to the the New Jersey Women's Conference in May. And I met this couple out of the Bronx, I think they were, and they were working with teenagers. And so when they talked about this Confessions of a Teenager, and they were talking about just helping teens share their story, that's where the seed was planted. So when I started as an assignment for the ladies in my group, I said it's gonna be a book. They didn't believe that it was gonna be a book.
Okay.
They didn't know it meant, when I said a book, that I meant like a real book, like you can purchase it type thing. It was, it was like, oh, wait a minute. Wow. Like, oh, it's real, because because again, it was an assignment. So I still have the handwritten notebook pages that they turned in. Because at that time, 2011, they weren't emailing me information. Like they
Okay.
were in this class, in this assignment, writing out their confession. And then when I moved that summer, it was like, okay, so what do I do with this? And when I started reaching out on Facebook to ask women who were current or had been in public assistance, I was just amazed at the response. And through making those posts in 2010, I met you. I met Shashina Gibbs from Real Sisters Rising. I met so many women who were out here working their businesses mostly and have, were receiving food stamps or were living in public housing. There was some connection to public assistance. And I just could not believe how God just totally expanded. And it wasn't just these few ladies from Jersey City, but it began to really resonate where I had women. At the time where were you at? Because I remember
Louis, Missouri.
You were in Missouri. There was another lady from somewhere in Michigan. There was someone else from Ohio, New York. It was just, it just, Georgia, it just blew my mind. Michelle, that's also where I met Stephanie McKinney. So there was so many people that came into my life by starting to share about that project. And that's really kind of the testament of my life. When I moved to South Carolina, I morphed from not just doing women's services for the nonprofit, My Sister's Keeper, but I became this author. I helped other women become an author. And now here we are, 12 years later. There's 2 Confessions of a Welfare Mom.
Yes.
There's Confessions of a Domestic Violence Survivor. There's Our Journey Towards Purpose. There's I Speak, which is a testimony of the innocent bystanders of domestic violence. And through those books, and it wasn't until I went to promote Our Journey Towards Purpose that I realized, Rhonda, to date, I have helped over 60 women become authors.
That is fabulous. But let me tell you what you did that people are not doing now. Hold on one second. And what I remember, because I think your book was the first book that I did a collaboration on as an author. And not only did you allow us to be in the book, right? But you sent us books and didn't charge us. I was like, she sent me books. That does not happen. Okay.
Listen, it's one of those things that, when you first started out, you don't know exactly what to do or how to do it yet. But it is really, I cannot tell you how much I've learned over the years. That first and second anthology, I used another company to help me put it together. Then the third one, she was like, listen, Kiwan, you can do this. You can do this. And I said, okay. And I went with it full force. I still use the same publishing company today to do my books.
Okay.
And it really was one of those things where at this point, I am so just excited for where I am in that process. I've helped other people become solo authors. I've, being the, what do you call it? The conduit that I am.
Yes.
It has truly, that whole industry has really changed my life. And this year, for my 50th birthday, I published my very first solo project.
Congratulations. See, I didn't know that.
Yes. Well, I did a little black book, I call it. It's an ebook, and it's but this one is my first full book. I used a book coach. I really poured me, and it's called Birthing Purpose, Becoming Coach K. So this year has truly been a testament to taking care of myself. The theme for today is change your mind, change your life, and self-care. And I have truly stepped into that as a lifestyle, where I have become top of my list again. And with me being at the top of the list, publishing the book that is about me, for me, has truly kind of set the stage and the parameters for the next phase of this journey. I have been in the business of helping women and families. When I started out, my son was 3. July 12th, he turned 30.
Oh, wow.
So I always gauge my service on how long, since I walked into welfare looking for assistance and they told me no, and how that spun me into social services as a career, how it spun me into helping profession as a career. And that no is what is the catalyst for so many of the projects that I do now. I don't know if I can, but I'm not going to stop until I do. So yeah. So Birthing Purpose, Becoming Coach K. It's available on my website. It's also available, which in my website is sheiscoachk.com. And I also it's available on Amazon and every other platform as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. But I'm excited because it let me have an opportunity to do what I help other people to do.
And just so you know, really quick, that first book, Confessions of a Welfare Mom, helped more people than you realize. I was able to use that book when I was a volunteer instructor at Almost Home. I was working with teen moms, and I was able to give each one of them a book.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yes.
I did not know that. Wow. Okay.
Ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. That means that is absolutely amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, you just never know. I've had, quite a few of those moments where I get a glimpse at the impact, and it's still it just blows my mind. I just get it's exciting, it's humbling. It never was intended to be for me. It was for other people, but you're blind in who gets it. I know,
Right.
Unless someone says to me that, or writes a review, you don't know. But I know now that the goal has been that other people will not only use it for their work, but they'll also use it as a means of income. I love that, the women are able to, to purchase and sell and do all of those things specifically for themselves. They didn't just become a part of a project, but the project is also a part of who they are and what they represent as well. So I get giddy when I look at somebody else's website and and see one of my books. That's awesome.
I love it.
So listen, I just want to give a few points, and I'm going to turn it back over to you. But in all the years, I desired to be able to help women, and I said I was going to do it in a way that will allow me to continue to do it. And creating the curriculum was really the biggest part of that. And with that comes the, how do I basically reinvent or keep doing what I'm doing with one and multiply it so that it's available for others and more, and so on and so forth, right? And so I developed the 5 principles. And it's crazy because the 5 principles, God dropped those in my spirit back in 2008. And I'll never forget it. Walking down the street in Newark, New Jersey, those 5 principles came into play: passion, purpose, mentorship, work, and leadership. How do we take care of ourselves? How do we change our mindset? All of that comes from being able to understand and know who we are. And I got to the place of knowing and understanding who I am because of those 5 principles. Knowing what my passions are, knowing what I'm excited about, knowing about the things that make me who I am, identifying those things that I'm going to do regardless whether there's someone telling me to do it or someone paying me to do it. I'm going to send the books because I have a passion for people to have what will get them to their next as well. I'm going to connect those passions to my purpose. Purpose for me makes it viable. Passion without purpose is a hobby. You know, it's just something you enjoy doing. But if you don't have a purpose to it, if it's not something for a greater good for yourself or someone else, then it doesn't really, you know, push you to the place of really changing. So I'm excited to see myself move in purpose, if that makes any sense. So then mentorship. Oh my goodness. Over the years, Rhonda, there have been so many men and women who mentor me, who connect with me, who give me what I need in order for me to move forward with my business, with my ministry, with my nonprofits, with my books, and all the different things that I do. You cannot operate in a silo. Self-care is understanding that we need help, whether it be your therapist, your coach, your best girlfriend, you know, whoever and however it is, we need help. And we learn from people all around us. And to go about my ministry and the work that I do and not have people that I can pull on and connect to and so on, it's going to do a disservice to who God called me to serve. Okay, so mentorship is a huge value to anyone. And if you're talking about taking care of yourself, getting good help so that you're not spinning wheels for no reason is definitely valuable. Work. We got to do the work. Let me tell you something. Guess what I just did? I finished my master's. I can't hear you, just so you know. I can't hear you. So
I'm sorry, I forgot I was muted. I was saying congratulations.
Girl, listen, when I teach, and I'm teaching people about work, let me tell you something. I started this project in 2015. I took a class, then I took another class, and then maybe a year later, I took another class. And then I was in school when I had my heart attack. Had to come out for a semester or two, took another class. And finally, as God would have it, not only did I finish, but I was able to change schools, which allowed me to change to get the major that I wanted.
Excellent. See?
Yes, God. Yes, God. So, you know, everything has purpose and everything will lead and come out the way that it was designed to be. And that's exciting for me because I wanted my MBA when I started. And so I started with a master's in management and leadership, which was great, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted because of the things that I began to do with my company. And so as I morphed into not only doing the curriculum, but also training other people to do use the curriculum as coaches. But then I began to work with people with their businesses. So now not only does Journey Towards Purpose Global Institute do the coaching program, but we also are an entity that helps with helping you create your own entity. So I do 501c and nonprofits. which brings me after work to leadership, with this, which is the fifth principle, helping leaders lead better, helping leaders have their grounding and foundation is really a huge part of what J2P Global Institute does. So with that, nonprofits, we do all the paperwork, state and federal filings, and then we help them with their strategic plan. We help them with their mission statement and all that type of stuff. Some people come in, they know that stuff, they're good, they just need their paperwork done. And some people need from ground zero, zero, zero. You know, they just wanted to do something from a altruistic perspective, and then decided that they wanted to make it a full-blown business. And I try to talk them out of it, but that doesn't always work, because I think that grief will make people do some things that they may not necessarily be ready to do. You know, so it makes a difference. So I'm excited for all of the many businesses that I get to touch and help them to, you know, really hone in on their mission, and in such a huge variety of ways. But that's leadership. What I have been working on, and I had not said this publicly other than to the coaches in my program. I, in October, will be releasing my second curriculum, which is a leadership curriculum.
Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. So I'm excited because when we are working with people who want to help people, you know, some people are born leaders, but that's something that you can definitely morph into something amazing. You can. And I think that leaders need guidance, leaders need structure, leaders need mentorship. And you can't get that if you're out there thinking you know everything. So the manual is really for us to help to identify what type of leader we are, so that we're moving down the right path and understanding who we are. It's always going to go back to self. Self-care is about self. Leadership is you lead from a place of, you know, where you are. So if my role is if I operate as a servant leader, you need to know that about me. That means that my mission and purpose of whatever it is and whoever we're serving, that's going to be paramount for me. I'm not going to be as much looking at all of the other things that a person who's looking at being an inspirational leader is going to look at. So an inspirational leader, so they're really about getting you to think outside the box, and they're really trying to get you, you know, to understand this huge mission, and they're really trying to motivate you that way. And I'm looking at, the point is the women need the services. That's where I'm at. So, you know, understanding all of those little pieces, and helping people to have what is called labels to that stuff. You know, some people are out here leading and don't know what kind of leader they are, which makes it more difficult for people to follow you. You know, so you know, you can be a little bit of more than one. I'm very creative. I'm also, I like to be able to inspire people to do things on their own and come up with some amazing things as well. So, you know, you can kind of switch off, but the point is, you need to know what those things are. You need to know where you're at and how you're operating. And one of my new clients, she has an LLC, and she wants to specifically work with leaders in ministry. She's in ministry. And so when we were talking, it was like, okay, so you need Journey Towards Purpose, and you also need this new leadership manual, because how can you lead leaders if you don't understand what leadership is, and different types of leaders? And so when people are coming to you, whether it be in ministry or not, you can't fully help them without having some type of basis for yourself as a leader to help them and guide them as a leader. So the time is now. I'm excited for the new leadership manual. It's coming out in October. I am presenting it with my coaches in our I believe this is our fourth year doing our coaches conclave. And it's a private meetup for coaches, not only in my program, but I've invited some others. I have 2 phenomenal speakers coming. And what we'll also be doing is our leadership manual. So they will get that certification within that day as well. So we'll be going through that in the afternoon. We have our 2 speakers, and then we'll do that. So they'll get certified in that particular curriculum as well. So I'm excited for all that I got going.
Okay. But wait a minute. So step back.
Yes, ma'am.
So, and I know that that is already in play, but for the next year or for the next conclave, if someone wants to be a part, how do they do that?
Well, they would need to be a part of my resources, a part of my program. These people who are invited to this are coaches already. And they are coached either through another program, or they are through Journey Towards Purpose program. If you're not a client of mine where I'm helping you, then I won't know that this is something I need to invite you to. But you can always get in touch with me, say, hey, I'm a life coach. I would love to be able to be a part of something like this. And I have no problem sharing that with you. It's usually a 4-day thing. This year, we are only doing it in a 1-day. I have some leaders who are going to do a 2-day, but for the most part, it's just the 1 day. It's Friday, October 7th. It's only $250, and that's going to give them the 2 speakers and the certification with the leadership program. I'm gonna feed you all day, and it's going to be an awesome day. So that is still open. I still have a few openings. I think there's actually 4 openings for that, because the venue that we're using, and it's well, in person, there's only 4 openings, because the venue that we're using, we can't have more than 20, or I think it was 20 people. But for virtual, that's definitely an option as well. So let me know if anybody wants to, sheiscoachk.com is my website. My email is coachk@j2pglobalinstitute.com. And my direct number is 803-609-3408.
Okay, give the website one more time, Kiwan.
www.sheiscoachk.com.
All right. There we have it.
There you got it. There you got it. Take care of you.
The one thing I will say about coaches, speakers, and even if you are an author and you're using your books as a business, we are always learning and evolving and continuing to educate ourselves one way or other.
Yes. And I think that we don't invest in ourselves enough.
I hear you.
We don't invest in ourselves enough. I was guilty of that. And when I first met the coach that I have now, when oh my God, I was not ready to level up, but I knew I needed her. Yeah. And it was a personal development that has tremendously impacted my professional development. You understand?
It's hand in hand.
Yes. And making the investment for me was, and the bottom line is, how do you expect people to invest in your resources, services, and what you have if you refuse to do the same for yourself?
That's right.
If you're not going to spend $700, but you want to charge $700, I can't do that.
That's
when
right.
I was doing it for free, then I would look for free. But if I'm doing it for $200, then I'm doing $200. But if I want at least $700 for my J2P program, and over the years, in the last 3 years, we have gone from 3 and we are now at 7. And one of the things that what I do with pricing for me is I ask my people, I ask them to give me a real evaluation for the value of what my product. What would you say is a good price point for this? And with that, I have had no problem with feeling comfortable about when I up level. But when I up level, I go, okay, what am I adding that's going to make this more valuable? So adding the second certification allows now that $700 is now $11.
Understood.
Because there's a second certification. I'm giving you a whole leadership groundwork. Now, if you want to go pay John Maxwell, hey, But see,
right.
John Maxwell is my next level up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I did the groundwork.
That's right.
Now to go in more specific different areas. And matter of fact, one of the trainers that's coming for the conclave is a John Maxwell trainer. So
excellent.
Girl, I'm trying. Just trying to
Don't
pull
say
it
you're
together.
trying. You're
Girl,
doing
listen, I'm doing. Listen, I snowball fall into my stuff.
it.
It's
Okay.
very intentional, but I'm not moving like I should be moving sometimes.
Yeah.
So we sometimes have to just kind of get pushed into it.
Yes. And having the right people around you helps.
Absolutely. Oh, I do that. You must. Absolutely must. So it is definitely time for that. It is 2022 and I am 50. I have been doing this business long enough to know that I gotta do better. So follow me as we keep on rising to the top.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. And now that I'm reconnected with you, I would definitely be following and sharing and communicating and all of those things.
Awesome. I'm excited for you, Rhonda. I love what you're doing. And I'm excited that you have continued. There's a lot of women who, from 10 years ago who are not still doing, what they initially set out to do. So kudos to you, girlfriend.
Thank you. And I myself have had some starts and stops. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. That's all human.
Yes. But for those of you who don't know me, and you are not familiar with me, I am Rhonda McAllister. I am the owner of the McAllister Enterprise LLC. If you're hearing feedback, I apologize in advance. But I'm the owner of the McAllister Enterprise LLC. I'm an author. I have authored 9 books now, I do believe, some which are ebooks. And I have a couple of short stories, and all of them are available on Amazon.com. Just put my name in. I am a writing coach, and I help other people get their books also published on Amazon. Typically, I do the editing, the formatting, book covers, all of that. I am also a small business coach for startups. So people who do not know where to begin when they want to start their business, form their LLCs, their business plan. I help them with that, marketing plans, all of that. And I also have a podcast, which I am so falling more in love with my podcast. My podcast is called TME Podcast, and it is heard on multiple podcast channels. So if you have a podcast channel that you frequently listen to, it's probably on there. Yes. On the podcast, I typically invite guests on various topics. So we talk about anything from business to relationship to spirituality. We talk about a variety of things. I love my podcast. So, story time. So, as you know, our theme for this year is self-care. Self-care has been so huge for me between 2020 and 2022, as with so many other people with the COVID mess and all of this stuff going on, right? And you take all of that and then you incorporate in income loss, people losing their jobs. I was one of those. And then relationship issues, right? And the one thing that I do want to say is depression and your mental health. And I know we're hearing more about mental health these days, but it is real. And I was, on a personal level, I didn't realize how important mental health was until my son was affected with his mental health. But for me personally, I didn't understand it. Well, I knew when my mom died, you know, I had some things going on and I was fighting depression, right? But with the compilation of so much that happened between 2020 and this year, it just began to like take a toll on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time that I was going through that, you know how I'm one of those people where like no one knows what you're going through because you do it in silence and you don't really tell anybody because, you know, people might not understand, you know, they judge you, all of this here, right? So I was going through some relationship stuff and it was really taking a sister out. I ain't even gonna lie, it was taking me out.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I was going through my Lean Six Sigma certification.
Wow.
So I have recently become, December of 2021, I became a certified Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. Okay, so with that, I learned to use those tools to help me to get out of a rut. So let me go into my story time. So, and I used to know these dates verbatim, and I'm glad that I don't remember these dates like I used to. But so at the beginning of 2022, I re-involved myself with a gentleman, right? And, you know, just one of those situations where one person likes the other person more than the other, you know, those type of things. You know, you don't realize it all until it's too late, which is fine. You know, the grown-up stuff. But what I didn't realize at the time is that I was in like a real funk, right? And just so happened I had to go to a Lean Six Sigma meeting. It was on a Saturday morning. So when I tell you if you ever had the feeling like you were outside of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I was feeling that day. And I still remember that day. So I go to the meeting and it's, you know, 3 of us there. And, you know, we go from talking about business to talking about sisterhood to talking about God, because, you know, God just comes up. It's just natural, right? So it goes from being a Lean Six Sigma meeting to really a prayer meeting, if you will, by the time we got done. So I leave the meeting, I go home, and I'm thinking to myself, they have no idea how much I needed that meeting that day, that camaraderie, that just to be in that space that day, because it took me away from everything that I was feeling, the emotion, you know, it brought me back into perspective. So part of my Lean Six Sigma certification was we had to go 12 days, right? And you had to kind of like evolve over the 12 days. So you start off with, and you got to pick the topic, right? So at 12 days, you would be at one point by the end, but at the end of the 12-day period, you're supposed to be completely transformed by using our Lean Six Sigma tools, correct? So I was like, okay, so I'm going to do mine on negative self-talk, which is what I decided to do mine on. Because during that time, I was feeding my head with all kind of mess. And if you know me, you know that I am very strict about my words. You know, you should have what you say. Change your mind, change your life. Your words go out before you, right? So, and I've always been, not always, but I really watch what I speak over myself. But during this time period, I was really giving myself some negative self-talk. So I needed to undo that. So one of the things that I learned during the process was that, and I really want women to hear this, is you have to take your own responsibility for the hurt that you feel. If that makes sense, right?
Okay.
It will be the hardest thing that is you will ever do is to take responsibility for your heartbreak. And I'll tell you why I say that. I say that because we always have, and I call them yellow flags, before we get to the red flags. And these are warnings, ladies. These are the warnings that say this is not working, this is not serving you, and this relationship or whatever is not for you. And a lot of times what we tend to do as women is we ignore these things, right? And I don't know why women think they have to go through hell to get to love. That's not how this works. Okay.
Girl.
So
I'm right down.
I was coming out of hell. And so during this time period, during the 12 days, one of the things that I had to do was journal, because you had to write it out, right? So what I'm going to do today is just kind of walk briefly through the DMAIC tools. Now, the DMAIC tools is what we use in Lean Six Sigma. I can't even get it. In Lean Six Sigma to solve problems. It's a continuous process improvement tool. Okay. Okay. So the first step in the Lean Six Sigma tool that we use is D. Is the full thing is DMAIC, and we pronounce it DMAIC. Those are the tools that we use in Lean Six Sigma. And these are the tools that I encourage women to start using when it comes to their journaling, when it comes to their self-care, when it comes to getting themselves out of a rut or whatever situation that you may be in, because I'm telling you, they work, right? So the D in DMAIC is for define. Now, define means define the problem. Okay, this is your opportunity for improving. This is your first step. So when I say define, I want you to dig deep. Okay, because the problem is probably not the surface thing that you think it is. More than likely, there's an underlying issue that is causing the actual problem, and that is what you need to define. Like, what is the problem? Why are you feeling this way? Why does this situation make you feel this way? Right? Or say these things about yourself. Why is it causing you to have these type of behaviors? You need to define that. Okay, so that is your D. The next letter is M, and that is for measure. Now, typically, and I'm not a relationship expert, please let me say that only to the point where I've been in enough that I should be an expert, okay? But the measure, M is for measure. I'm willing to bet that if you look back on your relationships, maybe how they ended or how they began, there's a pattern. And that is your measure. Are you always choosing a certain type of person? Are you always attracting a certain type of person? Does a certain behavior cause your relationships to end or go awry, whatever? You need to measure that. So as you're journaling and you're writing these things out, you need to write that down. Like, I attract these type of men or women, or I typically behave this way. Like, are you argumentative? Do you start arguments? Do you self-sabotage your relationship? Like, what is that? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So after you define it, right? So you're like, okay, so this is this problem right here. And then after you measure what that problem is, so you're like, so I recognize that I tend to do this, this, and that. when, you know, that's causing this problem or elevating this problem, then you go to your A, which is your analyzing. So when you get to the analyze, you need to figure out, why are you doing this? You know, why are you attracting a certain person or certain type of person? I was having a conversation with someone recently, and they were telling me that they were talking to someone they met online, and that the person tend to always speak about violence, right? And my question was, well, why are you talking to him? So as I continued to talk to her, I realized that she was attracting like these kind of people with these that persona, that personality, that characteristic, right? And so I told her, you need to watch what vibes you're giving out, because, you know, that's what you bring it back to you, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So you have to analyze, like, why is this happening? And the law of attraction is a law. You understand what I'm saying? And it is real. So I would use, you know, I think if you find yourself attracting a certain person, characteristic, a certain type, a certain relationship that does not serve you, then you may want to look at yourself. And this whole thing, I want you to look at yourself. You know, when relationships end, we tend to want to look at the other person. We want to blame the other person. They did this and they did that. But that's not what I want you to do. I want you to look at what it is that you did exactly that put you in this situation, because no one is responsible for your behavior. No one is responsible for your hurt but yourself. And that's just real. Okay. So now we defined it. Now we've measured it. Now we've analyzed it. And now we're going to the I, which is improve. Right. So this is where the changes begin. So now that you know what the problem is, and you know that I always tend to do this and you don't want to do that anymore, and you kind of analyze the why, your negative self-talk, your limiting beliefs, your, you know, your mama did this, you know, your girlfriends do that why that's hindering you from getting to what you want to serve you. Then now we can say, okay, so I'm on my I, and my I is for improvement. So now I can start improving my words. I can start improving my actions. I can start improving my behaviors, right? And work on myself, right? And I guarantee you that once you do that, you're going to start attracting a different type of person or situation. I promise. If this works, I'm a living witness. This works, okay? So for me, once I did that, and I honestly didn't realize, because once I wrote it out in those 12 days, and I had to say, okay, so I did this today. This is literally what you have to do. Day one, I got up, I ate breakfast. Write down what you ate. I exercised, or I walked, or I watched television, or whatever. Write it out. I took a bath, I took a shower, I soaked, write it out. Okay. Because once you do that for the 12 days, you're going to begin to see a pattern, right? And once you get on like the third or fourth day and you realize an activity or something that you're doing is not making you feel better, you start to shift it. Okay. So, and then, like I said, you're on your eyes. So you, as the days go on, you're getting to your improvement stages. So you start moving different. You start speaking differently. You start behaving differently, right? And it starts to just bring you out of this rut. It starts, for me, it started bringing me out of that funk and that depression and that sadness that I was in, okay, and bringing me back to myself. So then the last letter is C, and the C is for control. And just like I said before, there's no one in charge of you but you, right? Whatever deity that you serve, whatever it is that you put in here, your belief systems and the things that you speak out of your mouth, you control that, right? That's your powerhouse. Understood? So now you've gone through all of these steps, you get into your control mechanism, and these are now the things that you put in place for yourself. So this is what it did for me. So after that 12-day thing, I kid you not, I lost 25 pounds. I started journaling. And not only journaling for myself, I actually started making journals, because I was like, if I'm going through this, someone else is going through this. And if I was able to help myself, I am able to help someone else, right? Mm-hmm. So needless to say, I got my, like I said, my Lean Six Sigma certification, because once you do all of that, you have to do a presentation, and you have to pass the test, and I did all of that, right? But when I tell you that these tools work for your self-care is healthcare, and all of that is linked to your mental health. They're intertwined, okay? So out of that, I birthed which I'll be launching 2 products. The first is a hardcover self-care journal, and that journal uses the DMAIC tool. So it's going to walk you through 7 weeks of DMAIC tool. So at the end of each week, you will be writing out in your journal what you have improved or controlled. So by the time you start at week 1 and end at week 7, you should definitely be changed, evolve, whatever it is that you want to change and evolve, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I also will be launching in October is the goal, my self-care box. Because one of the things that I did as part of this 12-day journey was I had to take care of myself, just not only physically with exercise, and mentally with what I allowed to speak to me, because I would get up every morning and I developed the habit of either reading something motivational or watching motivational YouTube video every morning like clockwork, right? Get up, get my breakfast, have my coffee, turn on my video, I'm watching it and I'm writing. I have so many notebooks now, it's not even funny, where I've been writing just things that's helping me to grow me. That makes sense, right? And I'm a shower person. I love my showers, quick, easy, get out. But I started taking baths just so I can soak and be still. A lot of times as women, we have a problem with just being still. We have so much that we're doing, business, wives, moms, girlfriends, sisterhoods, sisters, aunts, cousins, whatever. But sometimes you just have to be still. So I take a day every week while I am in the tub. I am still. I'm not working. I'm not thinking about much. I'm soaking my body. I am relaxing, listening to my music of choice, right? Just being still. Amen. And so I adopted that in my self-care. So I will be launching my self-care box, and you'll be able to buy just a box or have a subscription service, and the box will come directly to you. And I'm doing this very intentionally. I am putting everything in that box that is going to be dedicated to improving your self-care. And I want everybody to develop a habit of taking care of themselves, because it's not enough to do it sometimes. It's not enough to do it every once in a while. You have to do it all the
Yep.
time.
It's the consistency. Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So my self-care box is called Love Me to Life. And Facebook
Okay.
helped me pick the name and the logo, which was fun, all of that good stuff. And hopefully at the end of the year, Kiwan, I will be obtaining my life coaching certification through the same company that gave me my Lean Six Sigma certification.
Phenomenal.
And
Phenomenal.
my life coaching, I will be using the DMIG terms for my clients. The DMIG tool, I'm sorry, for my clients. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I love this. Lean Six Sigma has literally changed my life.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. Just really everything that you shared just resonated, and it was so well put with the journey towards purpose stuff that I was researching and looking as you were talking. That was awesome. I can't wait to get with you, and we can have a one-on-one, and you can share some more. I have some questions.
Yes.
So that I can also make these type of things available for our folks. It is, I know, right, Michelle? It is really cool because we're always looking for the how. It's like, and what you've done is you've helped to develop another avenue for how. And, I didn't mention, but my podcast is going to relaunch in next month, and it's called Hope Vibes. Hope Vibes with Coach K and friends, and Michelle is one of the friends. And our first episode that we will be recording on next month is about our high functioning, particularly Black women who walk around with depression. And so, you spoke straight to it, how this is just kind of what we end up doing. And we recognize all those signs and things in other people, but have a hard time identifying, what it is for us. And it's such a powerful thing to understand who we are and be able to own where we are, and then begin to take responsibility for fixing that. And a part of that means that we got to make some really hard choices. So kudos to you. It's women like you who jump the hurdles that allow other women to see it and know that it's possible, it can be done, whether it be from a relationship, whether it be from some severe mental health, whether it be from, whatever it is. Exactly. I'm an investor now. So there's a whole lot of other, ways that affect our mental. And so I'm grateful to be able to connect on this level. This was great, Rhonda. Kudos to you.
And I just have one more thing to say about that attraction that I was talking about. I had to do this work. And for me, Infinite Spirit is never late. God is never late, because the man that I have in my life right now is amazing.
Amen. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's dope. I'm so excited for you.
Yes.
Excited for you. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm still figuring that out. I'm still figuring that part out. Listen, I got some really strong contenders, but we'll see what happens. Check.
Okay. They got to come correct now.
But that was also a part of the work,
Yeah.
Getting to the place where I valued me enough that I require other people to value me.
Exactly.
I didn't value myself. I didn't see myself as valuable. I knew that I could be a good wife, or I could be a good mom and all that stuff. But again, when I understand my value and I treat myself like I am valuable, then it requires other people to do the same.
Yes, ma'am. And we have to get that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I'm okay. I had to get okay with choosing me.
Absolutely.
And choosing me means that I can walk away. I don't care where we're at with us or whatever. I can walk away when I don't feel my value is important. So,
girl, look, I see him now, and I can look at him like I don't even know him. Never met him. You hear me? Amen. I had to take my power back.
Yes, amen. Amen. I am excited for you and this journey. Looking forward to staying connected. I'm just thrilled, and there's so much more to come. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this morning. I really do appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for being a part of the Change Your Mind, Change Your Life Women's Zoominar. It is 11 o'clock and we are going to end. I'd like to value everyone's time. If you are watching or listening, please send us a comment. The video will be on Facebook later and it will be on the podcast. Please leave us a message and let us know if we served you today and if there's any takeaways for you today. We would love to hear it.
Absolutely.
You can reach me on Facebook. You can just put in my name, Rhonda McAllister. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. You can find me. My website is www.tmellc.org. It is under construction, but keep checking back. All right.
Awesome. You have a great.
All right, so thank you all for joining us. Everyone have a great rest of your day. And this is Miss Rhonda, and I'll see you at the top. Bye-bye.
I am so excited. Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Thank you. Hold on one second because we're still recording.